Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cow's channel for a Cow's Opinion, where I go over the latest, greatest, and sometimes dumbest news happening in games today. And Embracer back in the news for claiming that the problem seems to be the crazy platform fees. So Embracer recently had its CEO, Lars Wingefors, recently said in a question and answer session that the company spends more on platform fees than it does on game development. Interesting. And he was being asked about the new recently announced Epic First Run. So if you don't know, right now, digitally, there's two main players. You have the Epic Game Store and the Steam Store. And they have different pricing structures and they have different rankings. Lots of people use Steam. I have Epic. Some other people have Epic, but it's not as popular just because, it's hard to get into the... Everyone always puts their stuff digitally on Steam for the most part. To also have to maintain all the stuff on Epic, especially for smaller developers, is a little hard. So there's less people also using the Epic Store. So as long as you're on Steam, you're probably going to get seen. But the new Epic First Run program states that developers of any size get 100% of the revenue if they agree to make the titles exclusive to the Epic Game Store for 6 months. After the 6 months, it goes back to their standard revenue, which is 88% for the developer and 12% for Epic. Now, this is not a bad deal. If you've really paid attention, a massive amount of the total money over the lifespan of software is made in 6 months. I mean, you will have sales, and then people, I always meant to play such and such, and it's the summer Steam sale. It's on sale, and I don't have a game right now. I'll pick it up. But no, for the first 6 months, 100% of the revenue is pretty dadgum good. Now, in comparison, Valve has a tiered system. They get 30%, but a few years ago, they had tiers to where they only take 25% if you do at least 10 million in sales, and 20% if you do 50 million in sales. So they will lower their percentage if the more copies and the more amount of money you sell on their platform. That's probably not going to help a lot of mid and small size developers. 10 million in sales is a lot, and really you only need a couple 100,000 units to be a smashing success as a small independent developer. So you don't even need $10 million in sales. But no, this was probably more to appease the Sonys and the Activision Blizzards and the EAs and the Take-Twos. It's like, hey, don't build out your own store, just use us. And if you have those huge hits, we'll take less money. So the CEO also says, at the end of the day, I think it's good having competition to Steam because it puts them on their toes to deliver the best experience. Obviously, we would like to pay less fees to platforms. In reality, we are paying more fees to platforms than we spend on game development every year. And if you just think about that number, it's crazy. So there are margins with the platforms that I would preferably have them building more games and some more margins, but I think it's great that Epic is there trying to build a competitive platform. At the same time, consumers are perhaps looking at things differently, that they want to be able to pick their platform, so there are many different perspectives to that. And I don't want to go too deeply into that, but I think competition in general is great. And now it also lets you know that Metro Exodus was one of the most early exclusives for Epic stores, and Dead Island 2 is a current one. Dead Island 2 actually did pretty well. A lot of people are looking forward to that. It's easier for a bigger game company to go exclusive on Epic for 6 months because a lot of your players will follow you. So, if you're a new independent company or you're a smaller developer, you've got to be on Steam. You have to. But what does the cow think of this? The Embracer CEO is a lying sack of garbage. That's what the cow thinks. Listen, he's here complaining how crazy the platform fees are, and that it exceeds the game development. Well, they're not really developing games right now. They're selling and closing studios. I'm not saying the guy is necessarily wrong. Okay? I'm not trying to call him a liar. I'm just saying it's absolute pathetic that he's here complaining about platform fees when they were trying to get Saudi Arabian blood money, when they're closing studios, when they're shelving IP that they gambled on getting. Look, the entire Embracer thing was just this weird strategy where we will get as big as we can, which is going to make people invest in us, and then those investments can fund the 2 to 3 years of game developer we need for all the great studios and IP we have had to. Because once you buy those studios, guess what? You've got to pay for them. They're not worried about making payroll anymore. Big Daddy Embracer needs to be paying the bills. And Embracer could not do... Step 1 was grab all of the IPs in the studios. Step 2 was get lots of money. Step 3 was, I guess, development games. Then Step 4 was going to be profit. But as we know, Saudi Arabia's investment fund decided not to give the $2 billion that they were negotiating, and instead did not invest in Embracer's concept. And Embracer needed to, but they have a huge amount of studios, guys. And Embracer really needed that money to be able to do things, and they didn't get it. We've seen Volition and other studios. One of Volition's closure was actually here on the channel. You can go back and see that if you'd like in a previous Cow's Opinion. They were trying to be massive, and they failed. They had no sustainability, and now I think it's just a little stupid for the CEO to then come and do this Q&A and just be like, well, it's really the fault of Steam because they charge us too much money. No, I think this is just the guy trying to hey, we're still good guys. We're trying to... Embracer sucks. Hopefully most of these studios can survive the stupid that is coming. But guys, what do you think about this? Which platform do you use? Do you use Steam? Do you have Epic? Do you have both? Do you not buy games digitally? Because a very small percentage of people do. They only buy physical copies, which, given some of the game preservation discussions that people are having, is maybe not the worst thing in the world. But let me know in the comments. This is just a quick little update because I thought it was adorably stupid that the Embracer CEO is sitting here whining about stuff when he is laying off hundreds, probably going to be into the thousands of game developers and closing probably at least 10 studios by the time this is done because he didn't get his Saudi Arabian money. And guys, remember that you need to play more games because games are awesome and you deserve the awesome. And I'll see you next time.